welcome to Overdrive AF, the official podcast of Overdrive Fitness. My name is Teddy Gerzon. I'm joined by Gina Marie Gerzon. What up, peoples? Back at it again, another episode. This is episode number 174. All right, so just to recap real quick, last week we spoke about a refeed, the refeed. That'd be a good fighter nickname, maybe, right? Teddy, the refeed Gerzon. It'd be perfect for someone like me because I would have gained so much weight after the weigh-in.
Oh my.
So, anyway, this week we'd like to talk about a topic, a question that's asked, that we're asked a lot by our members and people in general, right? Which is, how much protein do I need? Right, so that's something I feel that's very important that we should talk about, and something we can easily answer for everybody.
I think it's a huge topic every day for years, no matter how many times we've gone over it. Other social media influencers have gone over it. The PhDs have gone over it. Even in the health field, I just feel like there's constant controversy over the protein topic and how much and how much do I actually need, and so.
And even in some cases, you go on TikTok, which we don't for obvious reasons, but there's the outlier, the radical information that some people are saying, like, oh, protein makes you fat, you don't need it. Yeah, there was someone saying all you need to do is just not eat any protein, just eat fruits and vegetables.
Oh my.
Yeah, so it is an important topic, right? It is something that you do need in order to, sustain any physical changes, right? Even mental, right? But
yes.
For the most part, it doesn't need to be such a complicated part of your diet, to adjust, right? So wanted to start off with what the current dietary guidelines are.
Well, the current dietary guidelines are, and it cringes. I cringe when I cringe just even thinking about it, and actually having to speak these words. It's scary, but the current dietary guidelines are 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. And technically that's for sedentary individuals, but and Teddy thought it was hysterical because when we were going over what we wanted to talk about today and just going over the real bullet points of what we were going to discuss with you guys, and right away I just said, even then it's just way too fucking low. So
yes, those were exact words.
I mean,
in our prep for this podcast.
For somebody like me, I think it comes out to like between 45 and 50 grams of protein per day. Oh my God, I can't even think about, it makes me nauseous, and I just think about deterioration, like, it's scary.
Yeah, for me, first of all, 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram body weight. We get it. That's like a textbook answer, right? But we're in America where we don't use kilograms, right? So fuck the metric system. What is a kilogram, right? What's that?
Well, what does it come out to in pounds?
So going to pounds, right? If you were just to make the conversion, it comes out to 0.36 grams. So just round up, 0.4 grams of protein per body weight.
See, Brajol just got up. He's so upset about it.
Like for me, right, I'm currently 185, roughly, right? Just under, actually, but anyway, easy math, 185, right? So 0.36 of that is like 67 grams of protein. So you're telling me I'm supposed to, well, I'm not sedentary, right? I'm also not super active anymore, but I'm not sedentary. I'm definitely not sedentary. Even if I was, 67 grams of protein, like that's what I had 55 for breakfast.
Right. No,
so I'm supposed to just live on 12 grams of protein for the rest of the day.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And I'm hungry right now. So I just had breakfast.
So talking about protein is making you hungrier, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, to put it lightly, that is what the dietary guidelines are currently, and it's fucking horseshit.
Mm-hmm.
Flat out, it's not nearly enough. So that's why we want to talk about this, right? Because what's out there, if you were to simply just Google it, that's what's going to pop up. And unfortunately, we live in a day and age in where you have any question, you go straight to Google, right? And Google is now using AI, so now it's pulling that information from what the AI deems is appropriate and correct.
And accurate, yeah.
Yeah, so, no, it's way too fucking low, in the words of the boss at Overdrive. Yeah, so, like, I mean, in general,
God.
protein helps you do many things. I mean, do you want to list them?
Well, geez, I mean, in terms of, I hate saying losing weight, but let's just say fat loss. We're talking more about fat loss, and when we start to go on that fat loss journey, there will be some weight loss too. And if you're doing things correctly, which including protein appropriately and in higher increments, much more than what we just discussed is the RDA, you'll be losing, that weight loss will be fat loss, really. And your body will recompose and change into a much more sculpted, leaner, and hopefully, if you're doing things correctly, again, working with us, hopefully, yeah, stronger and much more resilient individual. Obviously, including protein in your day-to-day and at every meal and snack. It'll help reduce those blood sugar swings because we're eating appropriately and in intervals and including the proper amount of macronutrients, types of foods. We know that protein, right, the building blocks, amino acids are the building blocks of protein. We need protein to help build and maintain muscle. And of course bones too. I mean, it's a huge thing. When we start to include more protein in our diet, it helps to rev up our metabolism. We're burning more calories. It helps us to feel fuller longer because protein takes a little bit longer to digest. It takes a little bit longer. Your body takes a little bit longer. It's more active in breaking down. So it increases your satiety. It increases that fullness factor, that satisfaction factor that we receive. And men and women, it allows us to recover faster from hard training or just training in general from our day-to-day. I mean, there's a lot of detriments to these low protein guidelines, super duper fucking low protein guidelines. We could start to bruise more easily. We become very irritable. We don't sleep well. There's a lot of research on protein, amino acids, even those amino acids which are the building blocks of protein, crossing the blood-brain barrier and allowing us to improve our mood. And especially for women too. Women who are starting to even go through menopause and are postmenopausal. We know those hormone shifts they can get kind of wacky sometimes. Men go through their little shifts too, but in a woman's case, that's a big deal. And we can't be having these crazy mood swings and irritable and sad and happy and joyful and all these other crazy things that happen. So it keeps a level mood. It crosses that blood-brain barrier and allows us to release that serotonin, which is one of those feel-good hormones. So it's one of those neurotransmitters that we really do need, and it has a lot to do with even your gut health, and we could go on and on about it. But I mean, the list goes on and on about what protein helps you with. But we just started to list some of the main points. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of studies now, and studies of the studies who it shows just how effective protein is at helping fend off obesity, osteoporosis, and again, for both men and women, and even children into adulthood, we need to be getting a certain amount of protein so the bones grow properly, the muscles get obviously maintaining that muscle health and growing our muscles, being able to layer on the bone, being able to produce more force. We can't have weak bones and weak muscles and be able to produce force. Whether that be a sprint, whether that be a med ball slam, whether that be a powerful rep on a barbell, things like that. Diabetes, getting in that even distribution of calories and macros helps to fend off diabetes, right? And a lot of this type 2 diabetes is coming out now. It's obviously type 1 is genetic predisposition, but type 2 is like, there's so many people on these medications now. It's not necessary. And what else we talk? And even heart disease. Making healthier choices and including lean protein in your day-to-day. These are just a few of the serious diseases that are really peaking in the 2000s.
Yeah.
It's getting scarier and scarier because people are afraid. Oh, that's too much. Oh, this is way too much. But, well, what are you eating in a day? It's more about the processed foods now, pushing these processed foods and not going back to what we always talk about as unprocessed and what you find in nature as possible.
Well, that's what we want, right? We want them to...
That's what we want.
Yeah.
We're finding people are leaning more towards the processed foods, the ultra-processed foods, the things that are in boxes and bags and saran-wrapped cryovac stuff that you can heat up in a microwave or sometimes buy out, take your car and whip over to the nearest whatever. The more processed things are, the less filling and the less nutritious they will be. Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Absolutely.
When we talked about how protein does take more for the body to digest it, so it does increase that fullness factor. It allows you, and again, hence the even blood sugar distribution, that's huge. Building muscle, we know that. Building and maintaining muscle health, tendon health, ligament health, collagen production, all of that kind of stuff. We get that from, animal protein, yes, and the vegetarians, you're still able to be creative and combine these types of foods to get that total protein for the day, right? There's no reason why you can't. And at the end of the day, bone breakage, falls and slips increase 5% every year after the age of 50. So 50 and beyond, that bone health is huge. Huge. Women who are perimenopausal and menopausal, that protein breakdown, it becomes a lot harder for us to build muscle in general. Women who are premenopausal, so women who are starting to heading into, and older males as well, it becomes harder for that turnover to happen, that protein turnover to happen. People become more catabolic, so breaking down and not being able to recover as quickly. We need a certain amount of protein to really allow for us to be able to maintain what we have already and increase what we have, to be able to not just maintain but grow. Mm-hmm. And protein too, like amino acids in general, for all those endurance athletes out there. If you look at those of you that use powders or gels, the good ones, endurance athletes, protein, branched chain amino acids too, are actually, it's a great hydration strategy. So it allows you rehydration about 10% of what you would need. So that's another point. We didn't even kind of write down in our notes. It's just kind of coming to mind to me. So
that's fine.
These athletes who are on the fields, who are in these games for 2+ hours, 2+ hours, male and female. It's hot. They're sweating. It's humid. They're out in the sun. Protein before and even during, sipping on those things as part of your rehydration strategy is huge. Huge. I feel like I know I'm talking so much. Did you want to add anything?
No, I'm just trying to stay in order, really, and just...
So we were starting to hit on the points of what protein is so important for us. So protein, we always talk about protein and your immune system, protein and your hormone production. They have a lot to do with enzymes, good sleep, good quality sleep. Not only were we getting in a proper amount of calories, that certain amount of protein. Remember, I was talking to you, too low of protein is going to disrupt your sleep. It's going to make you irritable. It could possibly, some bruising could start to happen, bone brittleness, muscle loss, all of those things. So it's a major player in your immune system, a major player in good quality sleep, enzymes, your enzyme production, your hormone production, obviously good quality digestion, and ladies, even ovulation. Yeah. So those of you that, which are plenty, still going through your ovulatory phase, that high and low hormone phase, and we're bleeding every month. So, yeah. We want healthy ovaries. We want healthy ovulation. For those of you that are hoping to get pregnant, we want to eat protein. And we want to eat protein when we're pregnant, too.
Yeah. And then obviously, I can't attest to any of that. Right? So this strictly is for the biological females. Right? At least that last part. And I mean, yeah, that's a lot, right? Or it can be a lot, depending on how you look at it. Everything we just delivered to you, but going back to dietary guideline, they're suggesting 0.8 grams per kilogram body weight, which is in a sense, 0.36 grams per pound body weight, which is it's fucking nothing.
Oh my god!
Right. So like if you're out there, you're not really working with anybody, but you want to know, what's an easy way to figure out how much protein you need? Well, we would simply suggest 0.8 grams per pound body weight.
Yes.
Right? Or even if you wanted to simplify it, could they go up to a gram per pound body weight?
I would suggest that.
Yeah.
I would, especially for women and men who their goal is to really transform, to get healthier, to really redistribute their body in regards to, releasing that fat and building lean mass.
So recomp.
Right.
Essentially.
Right. Yeah, but also those people who are in need of like a fat loss phase, or they need to drop body fat. And a good way to do that is to include protein at every meal. And those of us who are resistance training, which I hope everybody is. True
resistance training.
Yeah.
Which we touched on last episode.
Right. We should be minimum of, I mean, the numbers are, it's like the minimum is like 0.7 to 0.8 grams per pound, depending upon who you're really leaning towards, that really know their stuff and what's really out there. But even in our studies, it's, I would say 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. And believe it or not, that's what's so scary about that number, is that so many people, and it's everybody from the kids, teenagers, all the way up to adulthood, men and women, even in their 40s, 50s, and beyond that. It's like, oh my God, that's just way too much protein. Mm-hmm. So, again, when we're coaching and if we err more on this conservative side to get people up to speed, to really where we want them, we would like them to be. So I think erring on the conservative side initially, allowing their body to get used to that protein amount every day and then every week, and then slowly increasing to what's tolerable to them. Yeah.
Yeah, even more specifically, not only even every day or every week, but every meal. The consistency.
Yes.
Right? Because we'll give these people numbers, and then they'll fill in the blanks depending on how their day goes, but they may have, like, let's say their goal is 100 grams, right? They may have 20 before 4 p.m. that day, and now they try to make up for 80 grams of protein in one sitting. Like, for most people, that'll make them sick. For me, that's like a blessing. I would love that.
80 grams?
Yeah, hell yeah. Give me that fucking porterhouse for 2.
Because I think men are more they lean more towards the protein. You know, that.
But I'm also saying, like, for me specifically, like, I can handle that. Whereas somebody that they have to lose a lot of weight, but they're not eating even half the amount of protein we want them to eat in a day. Like, don't do that to yourself. Like, don't leave so much on the table.
Right.
Such a
I mean, and there's ways to go about it. There's so many types of there's so much out there in regards to protein. Whether it's animal-based protein or plant-based protein, as long as you sprinkle things throughout the day, at the end of the day, if you're tracking in a sense, even mindfully, you'll get what you need. You know, even the vegetarians, when you pair things like beans and rice, or you know, like a nut butter and whole grain bread, or say lentils and barley, or something like that. Just giving you some examples, and you're sprinkling in your fruits and your vegetables, your nuts and your seeds and other things throughout the day. And even like we love beans, we love lentils, we love we eat all different types of foods, and we sprinkle things in throughout the day too. And you should be getting, you know, the rainbow in regardless of what you're leaning towards, and whether it's moral, ethical, whatever values you follow, however you were brought up, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you'll notice that not only will you feel better, you're sleeping better, you're in a better mood, your immune system is just much stronger, you're more resilient, more resistant to colds and flus and things like that. You feel more powerful when you're training. Hopefully that everybody should be not only resistance training, but just training in general, being really active, being in a better mood, your body starts to change, your clothes start to fit differently. I mean, these are all like hell yes, you know. I would say that, you know, check all these things off. I mean, I would want all these things instead of feeling sluggish and feeling, you know, like just a salad is not going to cut it, dude. I'm sorry, or lady, or whatever. And then you end up grabbing for the cookies, and you're ravenous when you get home, and you end up eating out the refrigerator because eating off your kids' plates and this, and then who has this, and they had a few bites of that, and a few bites, and before you know it, you're like, oh my God. You know, I mean, it shouldn't be like that. You should be, and again, this is what carries down the line. You start eating this way, your children start following suit, maybe your husband too, hopefully, or your wife or whatever, and it becomes a familial thing. And your body starts to thank you for it. Your brain functions better. Oh my God. The positives are endless. And even in regards to recovery, I mean, you need both. We talked about carbs. We've talked about carbs in past, but we need our protein and our carbs. Our carbs are what help to distribute the protein through the body. We want to be able to create that anabolic state. So we need to feed that anabolic state, that muscle building state. And if we're not getting adequate protein, especially not only pre-event or pre-exercise, pre-training, it's post-training, you know? And that's women too. That's more specifically women. I mean, physiologically we're a bit different, but that protein that we take pre-training and then post-training. Pre-training, especially if it's first thing in the morning, cortisol levels are usually at their highest. You guys want to train. You want to train fasted. Take that protein in. You should be taking in at least 15 grams of protein before that exercise, before that, especially strength training, even if it's cardiovascular. And then if it's cardiovascular, you want to add that carb in, and that blunts that cortisol spike. We want that. You actually want that. Cortisol can be very catabolic.
So just to review, as we wrap this up, let's just again list what protein helps you with.
It helps you with losing weight, reducing your blood sugar swings, help to make and maintain muscle. Of course, with your immune system, your hormone production, your enzymes, your digestion, better sleep. It helps you recover from hard exercise. It makes you feel fuller longer. It obviously helps rev up your metabolism. I mean, there's more, but
yeah. Just putting it out there, right? And then again, like you had said, it can help fend off obesity, osteoporosis, diabetes, and especially heart disease, right? It has a thermic effect, to review what you said. That's important, right? Obviously, best known for building muscle. I don't know if I can edit a zoom in on making that look bigger in the video.
Just pop up with Arnold or something.
Oh yeah, I'll put my
Put
face
your
on
face
Arnold's.
on Arnold. or
Arnold's body on my face.
No,
really.
Bumstead.
Bumstead?
Bumstead,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
C-bum. And then, again, title of the episode, how much protein do I need? Simply put, we're just going to say, to make it easy for yourself at least, 0.8 grams to a gram per pound body weight. Right? Now, we like to actually design our members' protein goals around their lean body mass, which we can obviously help you with but by just simply reaching out to us. Head on over to overdrive.fitness, and we can discuss that further with you, right? Especially if you want a more specific goal, specific plan designed around your specific needs, right? Because at the end of the day, we do like to individualize as much as possible for everybody.
Well, that's what the coaching is all about. Everything, yeah. That's why these are just basic guidelines,
But we just want to keep it simple, right? Because again, there's so much fucking information out there. A lot of it is bullshit and unnecessary stuff, especially if you're on TikTok and Instagram all day, right? It can be very confusing and cloudy. But as far as anecdotal evidence from our experience, right, I would say a combined almost 40 years in the business between the two of us. Just stick to those.
We need to just write a book because I feel like we're always answering questions that we constantly talk about. We get text messages or messages in the app like, oh my God, I'm reading this book, or oh, is this true? And we talk about these things all the time with our members. And it's like, okay, do you believe me now?
So yeah, that is it. As far as how much protein do you need, it's simple. We laid it out for you, the benefits as to why you need it. And for more information, just head on to overdrive.fitness, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Anything else to add?
That's it.
All right, so that's it for this episode of Overdrive AF, episode number 174. And we will catch you guys next time on another episode next week. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.